Welcome to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. We're a group of 30-something nerds who were raised on a healthy diet of video games and superhero cartoons, get together and talk about our experiences in gaming and pop culture. Join Daryl, Jordan, Kyle, and Trevor as we take a look at our gaming past, present, and future. Today's episode is entitled, What's Old is New Again. Looking for a word, is that word or weird?
Weird.
That's okay, weird. All right, let's try it again. Looking for a weird, nostalgic feeling game with a bunch of cliches. If you could see how this was written, folks, you would understand my struggle. But also some new and innovative approaches to the top-down RPG world. Well, look no further, lads. The Ferryman has ushered in a game that will make you Gasp-ar. Joining us again is our resident expert and lover of all things retro. I refuse to say one true Kyle. No, he is not.
That's the one true Kyle.
There can only be one.
Father of dragons.
There can only be one Kyle.
RetroEdgeArt. So get a LeJugg of your favorite Zale and get ready to have a nostalgic ride through the sea of stars with us. First of all, Retro, welcome back, man. It's been a bit.
Hey,
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're. I mean, who else could we bring back? We do love a good retro spot, so you know.
How'd I do with the puns, Kyle?
You did very good. You did great with the puns. Every week, it's the highlight. Hearing the disdain in Kyle's voice as he reads them.
Yes,
I love
just
them.
My favorite part.
I mostly just love that the disdain is that I didn't get to think of them. It was Daryl.
Kyle also loves puns.
I love puns. I mean, that one went better than last week's Ben Stiller White Goodman impression.
That was pretty good too.
Please, you guys.
My Ninja Turtles voice, which ended up being White Goodman from Dodgeball.
We Great still movie, by the way.
Oh
yeah, it was
God.
fantastic. You committed. That's what counts.
Yeah.
I thought it was good enough.
You went for it, man. Yeah. We appreciate that about you.
I do love the shout outs to the characters though, Daryl, because that is one of my favorite things about this game is they throw in some hilarious punny names into this. So that's perfect.
They won me over at Captain Klee'Shae. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's the winner.
Yeah. What are the other pirates' names? Because aren't they all kind of like goofy and stupid?
Keenathan.
Yeah. Like Kennethan. It's like Jonathan, but it's Kennethan or something. I was like, this is awful.
Yomara. Is that?
I can't remember. Klee'Shae is obviously the best one because it's just like.
Well, and then one of the stone giants that throws you across the map. You learn later on that his name is Yeet with an apostrophe.
Yeah,
it's just yeah, eat.
Oh my God, man! The first time. Okay, so obviously I haven't played as deep
in the
into
building.
It. Yeah, I haven't played as deep into it as you guys have, but that part was so fucking funny to me. I was like, oh yeah, we'll just talk to him, and just like.
Yeah. Talking to like a mountain spirit. He's like, yep, and you're gone.
Just like cackling my ass off on the couch because it was just like so dumb and funny.
What a great introduction to a game.
Oh yeah. That's the fast travel system you want.
Yeah.
So Retro Kyle
throwing you around.
Yes, sir.
We got the expert here. Like what? I guess there's so many references in this game. We've talked amongst ourselves about this. Like, what are kind of your favorite references that this game makes to the classics?
The whole game is just kind of like a love letter to the JRPG style, especially Super Nintendo. It takes just like a little bit of all of them. You can tell there's a lot of like from Chrono Trigger. It definitely has that feel. And then I even noticed kind of a feeling of like Paper Mario. Some of the storytelling had aspects in there. Just the whole encompassing. It's just it's a modern Super Nintendo game. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it had very much like a retro vibe. Like when you started, the music, like everything just felt.
Music is sick though.
Music
is
unreal.
incredible. Yeah. And like shout out, the composer in this, he was the composer of Chrono Trigger. And the Chrono Trigger soundtrack fucking slaps too. Yeah. So
I think he did 10 tracks, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
You quite a few.
Yeah, that's all you needed. Thing. They were all bangers.
Oh, they're so good.
They're great.
So it's actually set in the same universe as another game.
The Messenger.
Yeah.
It's a prequel, right?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so
Go for it, Jordan. You historian.
I'm going to nerd out about this because I played the Messenger. The Messenger, made by the same dev, was actually a really cool game because it melded 8-bit graphics and 16-bit graphics in the same game. So half of it you'll play in like Super Nintendo graphics, and then the story has a huge shift in it, and like there's time traveling and all sorts of different stuff. And then all of a sudden you're playing the game in 8-bit, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, NES type shit. And so it was a really unique kind of blend between the two. I will say that game is substantially more difficult than Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for like an old school platformer Ninja Gaiden type game, that's what the Messenger is. Very similar.
Thanks, Teeks.
Gotcha.
I don't know. He was still moving slow enough. He wasn't bouncing between our houses. And
I'm not that fast. I'm not as fast as Teeks. That's true.
What a character.
Yeah. I love the characters in this game are just so good. Like, Garl.
Garl.
Just the puppy dog that is Garl. You must be protected at all costs.
I'm still not healed from that.
Is this a Ghost of Tsushima horse situation, Jordan? I haven't gotten as far, so
I was going to ask that. Where is everyone? Because there might be some spoilers here. I don't know what our spoiler rules are.
Spoil away. I'm over halfway.
I'm a lost cause in most games.
Definitely. Kyle, I'm just impressed you even fucking downloaded the game and played it for an hour.
I played and liked it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. It was like it made me very much feel like Chrono Trigger vibes again. And I remember like downloading an emulator to play Chrono Trigger in university on my laptop. And that, like, it brought me back to that a little bit more than, because we didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up.
No.
So it sort of brought me back to that a little bit, and just not everyone's sister worked at a Rogers Video, dick.
Blockbuster, get it right.
The only thing I think that would make this better for Kyle, and the only modern amenity I wish they kind of added to this game was like the thing that like Pokemon added in like fucking Generation 7 was the like
feedback.
No, here's the last thing you did, right? Like here's the question. Here's where you left off. Like what you're, because same thing. I logged in the other night. I've been playing some other stuff, and I was just like, I had to like Google it. Like, what's like? I had to look at a guide to be like, where do you go after this? Because I'm like, I don't even fucking know where I am in the story right now. So that's the only thing I was like, I wish there was just a little help.
It's definitely punished me with some games in the past where I haven't finished certain ones because I've taken, a month off to play something else and come back. I'm like, I have no idea where to even begin.
Got to build up that treasure trove.
Doing the John Travolta meme, just kind of looking around. Where am I?
Yeah.
It is like it's gripping, and I was getting really into it too, or whatever. Like, unfortunately, Mortal Kombat came out at a bad time for me to like finish it wholeheartedly. But nice
one.
I'm gonna make you go back to it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make you do it.
I am gonna go back. I am gonna finish the game. Like, I do want to finish it because it is really good.
Now Retro
Mortal Kombat pun.
Now, Retro, do we want to break the news for our homie Garl?
Does he get stabbed in his other eye? Is that what does him in? That's
way
his weak
worse.
spot?
Way worse. We can break the news to them if they're good with spoilers. Garl doesn't make it, guys, and they make it as painful as they possibly could.
Does he choke on one of his sandwiches?
And they make him fight to keep like the mission going on to his very last breath. And it's just, you hurt for Garl.
My boy Garl.
Yeah. It goes from Garl being like a throwaway character at the beginning of the game where you're like, oh, this fucking guy again? Like,
just a bullet sponge?
Yeah, like you're carrying a frying pan. Like, can you be any more useless?
It's a viable weapon.
Warrior cook.
Yeah. If Disney's Tangled has taught me anything, a frying pan is a viable weapon.
It's a fair point.
Have you ever held a cast iron? That shit's heavy.
Come on, Friar Tuck, let's go to war.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they do a very good job with his whole character arc. You know, a little bit of a redemption story in there, and by the end he shows his value, and I think that's kind of what hurts the most. Is there's like
no.
Yeah, like and Retro knows like the scene. I sent him a screenshot of it, and he's like, "You son of a bitch."
Just crying at home while you're working on your cubes, just like your drops in. This one's special.
Don't worry, Garl, I'm making a cube of you. You will live forever.
Oh, I will be making cubes. Don't you worry.
Right on.
Yes.
This game is like the perfect game for a retro cube, for many retro cubes.
Absolutely. Oh, there's a list going.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I appreciate the most about like some of these redone retro style games is that they've taken the like 16, 32-bit, like the older bit style games, but done it in a way where it's like you can still up the graphics a little bit to fit on a modern 1080p 4K TV and not look like garbage.
Yeah,
but actually enhance it and make it look so good. Like,
I
the
agree.
backgrounds in this game, like everything, so good.
And everything's moving, and when you're going up the mountain, rocks are falling, and they envelop you in the world.
The plants are moving, and
I like that you have to actually like jump around the terrain. You know, like I feel like some of the old RPGs, you're moving left, right, up, down, long path, and this is like you're jumping around, and you can sometimes even fall off and get lower if you don't aim well.
Yeah. Just they definitely added like a sense of like verticality to it, where there's like sections where you jump off a cliff and fall through a door or something that needs to be broken, and you fall deeper into a cave, or
how am I going to burst through those rocks without Fat Garl to get me through there?
I also appreciate platforming bits were good too.
Yeah, don't you insult Garl?
Fuck Garl.
Those are fighting words, Daryl. Those are fighting words, man. You wait till the end of the game. That fucking opinion's going to change.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Well, it hurts too because you play with them, and I mean, honestly, they kind of make Garl like the main character. Like you have Zale and Valerie, and you're playing, but they're not super deep characters. They're kind of like let's go, let's go, play. Let's go fight. Let's go save the day. And he's the one with all the personality. Big monster comes up. He walks up and introduces himself. And he is the personality of the trio. Yeah. And you play 3/4 of the game. He sacrifices himself. Very drawn out death. I'll wait for you to get there because it's emotionally gripping. I won't spoil too much. And then you play the last quarter of the game without him. He's just gone. Yeah. You have to go through the rest of the game without him, and you really miss that nourish. That special. You needed that. There's other heals that work well, but I mean, he was leveled up. He was good to go, and you got quarter of a game without him. No comedic effect. The game kind of dulls down a little bit. You don't get those funny little spikes quite as much.
Yeah, the last quarter of the game definitely takes a turn to being it is very dark and serious, and like the tone completely switches when Garl passes, and like Yeah, now that you mention it, Retro, like that's a super good point. Is like Garl is kind of the heart of this game, and he
take him
adds a
away.
lot to it. Yeah, and then he's gone.
I mean,
And you do notice that switch.
First 5 minutes of the game, he's diving in front of slugs and getting stabbed in the eye. I was like, oh shit, this guy's gonna die. Like immediately. I was like, oh wow.
I was like, boy, is it ever important to be one of these like sun and moon fighters, like, these solstice fighters. I was like, holy cow, this guy just got stabbed in the eye.
Yeah.
I originally thought that Garl, so like after he, took that injury and stuff, and then like his friends abandoned him for the academy, I thought he was going to turn into the villain.
That was Daryl and I had this exact same conversation. I was like, I just assumed, and then he pops out and he's like, I'm here to cook some sandwiches. We're like, oh. Actually, that was its own.
This whole time I've been a Subway sandwich artist. Just didn't.
Been training.
Yeah.
The only fast food place in the village. Subway.
Oh my god.
What kind of cheese you want with that?
He's an expert.
Your name is Jared. You're no longer welcome here.
Yikes. No, Jared's at the academy.
The Academy of Hard Knocks. Yeah, sure.
What Retro? I'm curious because like after Garl, there's 3 other characters. You have a 6-team party by the end of the game in this. Like, what did you have a go-to character, or at least one that you thought either visually looked the best or their abilities were the coolest?
Favorite Pokemon argument. Yeah, I don't care whether or not. I want them on my team.
Yeah. Who's your starter?
I feel like you fight for so long with Valerie, Zale, and Garl that like I feel like Zale and Valerie they were still top. You know what I mean? Like they were always in the mix, and then you kind of add your third character, but you get the alchemist Roshan, Sarai, and Beast, and I like Roshan and Sarai. I wasn't crazy about Beast. He has a fun side quest where like they try to put a little personality into him, and I once again don't want to spoil anything. The end of the game is not the end of the game. We'll talk about that after. But he actually he develops more. When I first beat the game, I didn't love Beast. He just wasn't special. He didn't do anything for me. And for being really strong, he didn't really come in with big punches in his attacks or anything. He just kind of felt mediocre. But they used him for narrative purposes at the end. Like once you beat it and you go back and do some more, they do utilize him. There was a purpose for him to be there.
Interesting.
But Rashawn and Sarah are pretty cool.
Spoilers on.
Yeah,
it's on Wikipedia.
Kyle's just over there.
Don't spoil for Jordan.
I'm just happy to be here.
He's almost there.
No, I tried Sea of Stars. Like, it's a lot of fun, but I mean, given my amount of time that I am able to play, it's not something I can.
The thing I would say I would learn from like my mistake is if you do want to play it and you're not going to go back to it, like leave yourself a note. Like, don't just be like, I'm going to remember where I was, because you're fucking not going to.
No, you won't.
Not even a chance. Like, just leave yourself a note and just be like, I was in this town and the next thing I had to do was this. And then for the most part, like the game's fairly linear, that it will get you to where you need to go next. But it's just that little tidbit that they need to give you at this, like when you log back in, that would be super helpful.
I will add, once you start really traveling the map, you can look at the map at any time, and there is a blinking star where you're supposed to go. It's very broad. Like, they're not saying, go talk to this person that you forgot the name of and you're in trouble. That is totally a problem. But, like, it does kind of give you, like, go to this section and start talking to people.
It's kind of like
someone will point you in the right direction. It's
like the stream of light in Elden Ring, where they're just like, go that way.
This is the direction.
That way.
Thanks, light.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I appreciated the most about The Witcher 3 is that game, when you log into it, they actually have like a full almost a comic book narrative sequence where they've got a narrator telling you what characters you were talking to last and like what your next mission is going to be. So like that game does a phenomenal
previously
job.
on The Witcher.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, like it is a recap. And yeah, to Trevor's point, there's definitely some RPGs and especially JRPGs that would benefit from a feature like that.
Okay.
No question.
That's
just if you're playing,
I didn't name any names, Daryl.
If a game's 120 hours, it's like there's a chance you might not play it 10 days in a row. Like you've got to give me a fucking give me a hint. Like
something. Yeah, give me a cookie.
I can't restart the game. I'm 60 hours in. Give me something.
What's the hours log there, Retro? Like what do we got? What do we got logged in there?
So when I beat the game, it was I think it was a little over 25, maybe 26 hours. But I've gone back and done all the extra side quests. I got the real ending, and then there's like even more you can do, and then there's like the last secret the developers left. If you like, you don't have to 100% it. Like you don't need every single item in a chest, but you have to. Have you guys played the Wheels game at least once in the ends?
Yeah.
So you have to beat every champion in Wheels. You have to catch every fish. You have to do all the side quests.
Fishing game.
This one fishing isn't too bad.
This one is actually pretty good and simple. Thank fuck.
And then you have to do all of in the part I really hated, all the question packs, which you may or may not have seen that yet. You have to do every single one on casual and expert, and it is a nightmare. That's like one of my biggest that took so Retro, long.
To preface this, you don't have to do all of that to get the true ending, right? Please tell me.
So this is the bonus secret extra.
No. Okay. So to get the true ending, like the best thing to do to start is, like you don't start with a new game plus. It's just going to start you with a little silver star on your save, and you're right outside the last boss again. Go to any of the campfires and rest so you can, walk around and talk to your people. Beast, Sarai, and Rashawn all have a side quest, and you do all three of those. The biggest, like the hardest thing to do besides those, like to get the true ending, is you have to find all 60 of the rainbow conch shells. Right. That's a lot. I will admit to maybe looking up some of their locations. Because
nothing wrong with that.
That is fair.
I got a kiddo. I work late at night. We're not. I can't do it. So that's the hardest part. Through that process, you end up getting building plans, and you kind of. This might be foreign to a couple of them. You end up making a town of survivors, and you kind of like they're rebuilding a town. And you get plans through trading the conch shells, and they're building a shop, a fishing place, a spa, and an inn.
Nice,
critical.
And then
spa
people that you meet throughout the game, you talk to them, and then they come and run your shop and your inn, which that's really easy. Once you've done all that, these little pillars kind of start glowing purple with every side quest you beat, and then you can get the true ending. But like. I can't encourage, if you like the game, I cannot encourage you enough to do it, because there is so much more game you haven't seen. Like it literally flips the story. You don't have the ending. It's not like, they gave you a slightly alternate ending. No, you have a totally different ending. It's very important to do it if you enjoy it. I think when I beat the side quests and stuff, it said something like 2.8% people have achieved it in the achievement little bar on the bottom.
Oh wow.
And that hurt me to think that 97% of people have no idea this massive, I mean it is I'm sure you know now, Mr. Wikipedia, but it is a massive change to the story. It's important to go do. Plus there's a lot of really great bosses that you get through those side quests, and if you're enjoying the bosses and how creative they are, just for that alone. And each side quest is quick. It's like maybe an hour. they're not bad and they're fun.
That was the thing that surprised me the most, and I actually texted Retro about this earlier today, was like most of the time when you do old RPGs like this, they just throw the same boss at you, but maybe like a variant, or they're just a different color, or you know, it's like I'm the elite version of that boss that you fought at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Like this one, I've now fought 2 bosses that are completely unique, that are totally new. And like the designs are insane. Like one of them I mentioned to Retro is so cool. And yeah, it's attached to a side quest at the end of the game. Somebody might not ever see that boss design, which is kind of a shame. Because yeah, the bosses in this game from start to finish are fantastic. They're so good.
So I guess I'm watching a Let's Play.
There you go.
Might have to.
As long as you get to experience it.
Do I need to screen share, Kyle? Is that what you're asking?
As an owner of a
That would
PlayStation,
require my PlayStation to be on.
an owner of this game,
You could play it
you know
yourself.
what you should get, Kyle? You should get a
Nobody got time
PlayStation
for that.
Portal. You should get a PlayStation Portal and put it in the bathroom.
Hey, there you go.
I think we found
Play
it,
it on
guys.
the go, baby.
Kyle's been taking hour-and-a-half long shits for the last week.
Are you good? Are you okay?
But he beat this game.
Just walk
Getting
in. He's just lying,
increasingly alarming text.
just lying on the floor with the on the mat, just playing games.
My legs fell
Kyle's,
asleep.
Kyle's got a lot more taco meat in the fridge than he's ever.
Than usual. How do you've been
Just
eating a lot of
perfect.
spicy food lately? I didn't think you agreed with that.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah,
Just wanna play
don't
Sea of
Oh,
Stars.
go! I just take my portal with me.
I'm just going to go to the bathroom and gargle.
know.
Are you sure you cooked that chicken all the way through? I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Intentionally giving myself food poisoning just to play a fucking game.
We're helping you, Kyle. We're helping
Yeah.
you.
It's your
We're
ideas.
problem solving here. That's what this podcast is all about.
Yeah.
I understand that though. I get it. The finding time to play the game. It's a struggle. I feel you.
It is a struggle. What do you guys think? Should we take a little break from talking about my toilet habits and
Please.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
pronounced Toidles. It's pronounced Toidles.
hey,
my
get it
toilet
right.
habits.
Get Joey over here.
Just keeping things regular.
So this week, with our special guest, we've got another episode of the Treasure Trove.
Treasure trove.
All right. Well, welcome to another segment of the Treasure Trove. This is where we typically talk about games that maybe didn't get a whole lot of love when they were released, or just didn't have the promotional budget of a Activision Blizzard, and people need to play. So thankfully, we've got one of our good friends here, Retro Kyle, or the one true Kyle, as some would say. But yeah, if you want to give us a treasure trove game, let's hear what you got.
All right, so let's go with Night in the Woods. I've recently played this again because Limited Runs has released a physical copy of the game. It is a gorgeous little game that like really encompasses small town life. May is the protagonist, and she comes back from college, and it's just her daily interactions with people around the town, and it sounds kind of quiet and mundane, and it is. That's exactly what makes it really special. She's a little bit sassy, has some attitude, and basically, if you're looking for a calm game, nothing crazy, but a little bit of a story, a little bit of mystery, but basically kind of like it's. I don't want to call it graphic novel because like then you're thinking like page it, but it's literally just a story. There's no intense gameplay. There's nothing massive you have to do. It's just sit down, press some buttons, and go along for the ride. I can't encourage that one enough. It's not a super secret game. Like, there's plenty of people who play, but it's not quite as mainstream as I think it should be. But the fans are diehard fans.
That's the second time.
I was going to say, this is the
one
second time we've had it on.
Yeah, shout out to Lexi from Dork Matters, because I think she suggested that game as well, or that came up in the conversation.
Same one. Yeah. So it must be good, folks.
Yeah,
it is.
I guess we're gonna have to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art style and everything looks great. I know you've been working on some cubes in that game, and everything that I've seen, it looks very unique, and definitely looks like a pretty sweet game. So sweet. Well, thanks, Retro. Appreciate that. My game is not as small. It's definitely gotten a lot of media attention over the years, but maybe not for the right reasons.
Ooh,
but it's had a little bit of a redemption story in the last couple years here. That game is No Man's Sky from Hello Games.
Okay.
No Man's Sky was touted as being like a never-ending procedural generated space traveling game where you have an infinite amount of planets to explore, and the whole goal of the game was to reach kind of the center of the universe, and there's some sort of mystery there that you have to uncover. Now, when that game initially came out on the PlayStation 4, oh boy, did it not go
It's getting a little hot in here.
I sense a space theme right now with incomplete games.
Yeah, that game got absolutely dumped on at launch, and honestly, for a lot of it was self-inflicted. The game was just unpolished. It did not run well. It was very empty. There wasn't much to
Sounds
do.
like me.
Oh, you're polished.
Virtual hug. Virtual hug for you, buddy.
Only I can do that.
This game, kudos to the developers at Hello Games. I think since it originally came out, which I think was 2017, 2016, somewhere in there, they've seen, I think, 18 content updates.
Wow. So they definitely didn't say goodbye to their game.
No. Okay.
Yeah. And so you got to give them full kudos. They stuck with their vision. They knew what they wanted to do, but just maybe didn't quite hit the finish line. I jumped back into that game about a month ago, and they just launched another expansion for it. And I will mention every content update and every expansion is completely free. There is,
we like that.
Yeah, no add-on expenses. But that game is a ton of fun if you like space exploration and almost like sim management type games, like kind of think of like a third person Stardew Valley mixed in with just jumping into a spaceship and fucking flying to different planets. And a little bit of shade thrown to Starfield here. No Man's Sky, you can get in your spaceship and fly to orbit, go to another planet, and you can land all in one motion. No loading screen.
Wow.
Starfield, more like Star Failed.
Oh. So yeah, if you're looking for kind of a game to kick back with, it's a slow-paced game. It's definitely something that if you're into that management sim type game, it's definitely one to check out. And it's gorgeous with the new content updates on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. That game actually looks quite good. And lots of customization in there too. So yeah, check it out.
No Man's Sky.
Do it. We're only giving one shout out to a Star game tonight, and it is not Starfield.
Space, the failed frontier.
I played Starfield way back, and it was empty. It makes me want to go back.
Yeah.
That's the point of the treasure trove. Just get everyone back on board the spaceship.
Oh my god.
Not your best work today, Kyle. Not your
I'll
best.
take it. Kyle's had a pretty shitty day.
Hey.
He's just trying to get through this with every fiber of his being.
So, anyways, before we go forward, I just want to hear your ratings for Sea of Stars so far, and then we'll branch out into looking to the future,
To the stars, if you will.
Space.
Dimensions. Time.
Okay, Retro, why don't you start us off since you have crushed the game?
I had to. I loved it so much. So I feel like there's two scores here. I feel like the general playing score, like just as a game, it's getting like an 8.5 to a 9. Like it is a really, really great, crafted, beautiful game that you can feel. I mean, the developing team was 25 people. You know,
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Jordan told us that before, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Small team, I think it was like 4 years or something like that. And they crushed it. I mean, it's incredible. So like 8.5, 9, maybe even, a little bit. We'll leave that. For me, like for me playing it, it was an absolute 10 by the time I had beat it. And then going back and doing the side quests and getting the real ending, it blew the expectations, and I break the scale, and it's like, it's in my top 5 now at like, can I give it an 11? Is that
Holy
allowed?
cow.
We're going Spinal Tap here. We're turning it up.
We're breaking it a little. And it touched something. I mean, Super Nintendo was my system. I started on an NES, but like I grew up with the Super Nintendo. And it just touched something in the childhood. I don't get emotional in games. This game moved me around. I got sad and happy, and that doesn't happen with games. I just gotta play the games. So it was a big emotional journey with this one. It definitely hit something special. And I mean, Kyle, you Mr. Wikipedia, you already know what I'm talking about, but you gotta get the extra ending. If you're gonna put 26 hours into the game, put 5 more, get to 31, just get the extra ending. It's the real ending. You just got to do it.
Sweet.
That's my score.
It's nice. It's nice that it's only about 5 more hours.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's all it is. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's what I was worried about, is it was going to be like another 15. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that.
I did all the side quests after beating the game in one sitting. And then in the next sitting, I went and beat the new last boss.
Oh, sick.
So like it's pretty palatable.
Yeah.
Good word.
Doable.
Cool.
Yeah.
Speaking my language.
Jordan, since you're the deepest into it.
Jordan.
Pretty similar score. I think for me, I'm sitting at like a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow. High praise.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of my top games of the year by far.
And it was free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like this was included in Game Pass, PS Extra. Kudos to the devs for that. But I can't think of a game in the last little bit that I spent the majority of my time in any fight literally doing this on the couch, just bobbing to the music, because the music is just so fucking catchy. And the story's great. A lot of really endearing characters. Even some of the side characters you only meet a handful of times are really funny and are standouts. So 9.5 out of 10 for me. I'm sure that might change once I get that true ending too.
Daryl, Trevor.
Daryl, you're the next closest.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I was pretty Keenathan on the beginning of the game here, but no, I like it because it reminds. Like, I don't have a vast Chrono Trigger knowledge because we learned from previous seasons there. But I did really like it because it really took me back to like the first 4 Final Fantasy games. Like, that's what I felt like I was going back to. And I was like, man, this is the perfect handheld game right now. Like, if I was to pick this up on the Switch, like, I think it would look just as good. It would feel just as good. I'm glad I played it on PlayStation regardless. But I was just like, this is just a nice throwback to the games that kind of made me love RPGs. So getting back, but I liked the battle mechanics. I thought the Moonerang move from Valerie is like one of the most like fun things to just like get going. If you keep pressing X at the right time, you can get it to bounce like however long you can possibly press the button for, timed right. And I just think that those mechanics in fights are what make games like this enticing. That's what made me love Legend of Dragoon. Was you're in the combat. It's not just turn-based. You're not just pressing the attack and letting the person go. You're in it, like you're involved, and there's some tangibles in there. So I definitely love that. I thought it was really revolutionary for that. Some of the travel mechanics I thought were great. Some of the interactives with the environment I thought were great in comparison to some of those older style games. And that's just being able to use new technology better. But I think right now I'm probably, because I'm not at the ending and I haven't seen the story to fruition. And so I can't really say too much about the final of the story. But I'm more in that 8.5, 9 range right now. But I could change my mind at the end. But it's definitely super enjoyable. I would recommend anybody play this game. If you like RPGs, JRPGs, doesn't really matter. This one is fun and simple. It has some like, fun narrative stuff like Nexomon kind of did, like things like that. Yeah. And the soundtrack is incredible. Just like Hot Wheels,
Banging.
like that game had no business having music that slapped as hard as it did. But both of these games have just like, you're literally vibing on the couch. Like you're just having a good time listening to the same 10 songs, but they're just good. It's just well done. It's really well done. Yeah. It's polished. It's finished. It's a great game.
I'm glad that you brought up the battle mechanics, because like that's one of my highest praises of this. Is I find too many turn-based RPGs are just press action, watch the animation play out, and then recycle that and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about.
Yeah,
exactly. Like Super Mario RPG did that as well. Like that game, you had to time your attacks to get an additional attack, and you had to time blocks to take reduced damage. And that was revolutionary, I feel like, for the Super Nintendo back when that came out.
Yeah, man. 100%.
And a lot of turn-based RPGs don't do that anymore, which seems insane to me.
You know who did that really well? The South Park games.
Yeah,
really?
Same thing.
Yeah,
really? Same thing. Yeah. Like it's such a good way to like further Jordan's point. It's such a good way to keep the player engaged and invested in what's happening in every part of the battle with a turn-based game. Like it's very simple, but so helpful.
It'll be so hard to go back to a turn-based game that doesn't have that mechanic in it. Like, I'm going to struggle with that.
Yeah, it's the staple now.
Yeah,
it's the standard.
Trevor, did you want to give a review? Or you?
Sure. Yeah, I think I'm far enough in. I think right now, like I need to get into it a bit more. I would say right now I'm at an 8 for like the nostalgia factor and like we've talked about a lot of the references and everything like that. Like pure 10. If you're 30 years old and you've played old Super Nintendo games, like you will get these references and you will appreciate them. And like Daryl's saying, like the addition of technology, like stuff like newer games like Tunic, where yes, you're in a like a one axis view, but you've got like little secret places you can go and like different ways to interact versus just like a path.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much of that they did a really good job with creatively to like make it more unique than a classic game. I honestly just wish, similar to like some of the older RPGs or like, Final Fantasy and stuff, I just wish there was more attacks that had more inputs, like especially early in the game. Like I wish you kind of got some more like cool abilities like early on. Because I feel like, well, I'm just doing my Moonerang a lot. It's like, well, no, I want like some other like really cool, unique things, like to have, maybe even to like choose of like your top 4 attacks. That'd be my biggest like downside, but otherwise, game is beautiful, super fun to play. It's like, it's a pretty chill game overall. It's not overly intensive. But yeah, it's a good time.
Sweet.
I like that.
Yeah. I definitely found the button press interaction portion of battle to be engaging, which is maybe why I kept playing it more than you would have expected.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Because you got to learn. Because you also have to learn every enemy has like 2 or 3 attacks, and they're all different. And they throw in it's sort of like Elden Ring, where you get the boss.
Elden Ring
where you get the boss that just like holds it, and you're like, when do I dodge? And then they're like, oh, now, right? And so they do a really good job of that. You're like, shit, I missed it. And like trying to perfect the dodge or like the block mechanic is a big thing.
The other thing I really liked in this one, in comparison to anything else, I've never seen anything else like this, was the enemies that are charging up to do a move, and the boxes above them have the like different symbols. And if you meet all the requirements before it's their turn, you stop their move completely. And
they don't attack at all.
They don't attack at all. And that is like such a unique thing, because if you're doing it right and you're going through the characters in the right order, when it comes to your turn for your 3 party members, and you can cycle through and do like which one you want to start with, like that's such a cool strategic element to picking what you're doing, saving some of the resources, saving some of your MP to do these things to stop those moves. And I was like, that's the next level shit that you can like metagame a little bit, but that's not like, oh my God, this is too hard to comprehend. I'm never going to stop these moves. Like I was like, oh, I love this. Like, this is a great facet.
Yeah.
Well, it's awesome because towards the end of the game, when you have multiple characters, you've got 4, 5, or 6 in your party. You can only bring 3 into a fight, but you can rotate them at will at any time.
Oh, cool.
And so now the strategy becomes, okay, this enemy, the requirements to stop this attack, I don't have that character on the playing field right now, but I can just rotate that person in, and it doesn't cost me. It doesn't cost me a turn.
Like that was such a revolutionary thing for that franchise too. I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, like it really, now it becomes, like you say, almost a meta game of managing resources and making sure that you're actually having to use other characters. You can't just be like, I like these 3. I'm just going to only use these.
Power level 3 and just
like you have to use every character to progress. Like, it's a beautiful mechanic.
You can also be really strategic too. So like if your heavy hitters are out and you know a big attack is coming and there's no way to get rid of those bars and you know someone's going down, you flip out your characters with good health that you're not going to really need. They take the hit, switch them back, and then you're attacking again.
Genius. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy in there. A lot more strategy than you would think.
Get out there, Carl.
Hey, easy.
So I mean, we've sung a lot of praises. Is there anything that you want to nitpick that could make it a bit better? I mean, Trevor, we brought up a few things here and there.
Combat.
Dream sequel. What sort of features would it have?
You just opened up the door now.
It's like Pandora's box here. Just.
I will say that they said they're making a DLC for it, which is exciting. It is coming. That's how they keep their studio kind of floating. They keep all of their developers on full time, and they work on a DLC while they're kind of preparing their next game.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think, industry standard, they kind of, they fire off the developers and rehire them once the game starts, but they keep them going constantly. So they have a DLC coming, which is super
respect
exciting.
that.
Yeah.
The only hint we've been given, and I think, Jordan, you're the only one who will know this, the Watchmaker is supposed to come back in some capacity, but it was only alluding, and it kind of sounded like it might change, and I haven't heard anything since.
What?
But yeah, so DLC is coming. I would love a sequel. I would say, because I have the true ending and I love it so much, I would say kind of like my complaint, and we were kind of talking about this, beforehand, before we started. It's when the credits roll and it finishes, it kind of gives you a semi-satisfying ending, and you kind of go like, oh, okay, it's done. I liked that. That was great, And they just kind of alluded to like, hey, here's these stones. A couple of them are glowing because you did a couple side quests. You might want to check it out. It would have been nice to kind of get, a push, because I put the game down for 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
And I went back just because I really missed the game. I'm like, there's got to be more to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put it down if I knew there was so much more. And maybe that's what they intended. But I think there's going to be a lot of people who miss out on a big part of the game that would want to know it's there. Just a little bit more of a push. Just a little more at the end, being like, hey, you really do, you want this. Go check it out. It's not over. It's not over like we made it seem.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the majority of gripes, I mean, it's mostly just nitpicking, really. It's really just quality of life things, like to Trevor's point, having like a recap coming back into the game, or in like a journal entry,
Super
That was
basic
really
quest
helpful.
journal. Yeah.
like having that in there. I think I think the inventory management was a bit convoluted. Some of the stuff that you pick up out of chests, you don't even know that it's equipable. And so you go through a couple hours of the game not even realizing that you might have like a new amulet or even a new set of armor that you could equip to somebody. So I think that could be kind of tweaked a little bit. And then like Trevor kind of hit the nail on the head with the attack thing. Later on in the game, you do get more and more abilities for every character, so it does add some variety, which is really nice. But everybody gets like a Dragon Ball Z ultimate attack that you have to fill up a meter to like use it, and it's very kind of finite on where you can use it. I would have loved those ultimate abilities to have the multiple attack like prompts.
Okay.
Oh, to be able to like
really let me fuck
it.
some shit up by pressing it at the right moment.
Yeah.
And completely like changing what the attack does or even what it looks like.
Even like a bit of like a quick time event sort of deal.
Yeah, something. I think that would have been a really cool part to add in the extra prompt. Because they could have a lot of fun with that on kind of how to tweak it.
I think my biggest takeaway from this game was just like, I really appreciated the effort they put into this to make the references. And I kind of wish they would just do some more games, whether they're remakes, remasters, like kind of go through this system again and really look at how you could revitalize some of these franchises. Like the biggest one, I think I was telling Daryl, like the Zale. It's Zale, right? The guy?
Yeah.
When he runs around, he's got his
Zale.
like little like fire, like it's part of the thing he knits, which kind of
the silk or something.
The silk or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he's got the blood, he's got it like hanging out of his back pocket or whatever. And it's like,
He's like, what?
it's like dangling behind him. Well, every time I was playing, I was telling Daryl, I was like, this looks like the main character from Breath of Fire, like with his tail.
Yeah.
And every time I was just like, fuck. I was like, if they remade a Breath of Fire game in this style, I was like, I would play that immediately.
Yep.
And there's so many of those games of that style that were kind of like the offshoot, like not the Final Fantasy, but like the second like B tier RPG games that were really good.
Like Secret of Mana.
Yeah, they were so good.
Yeah.
And if they could get this treatment, I was like, we could have a whole like genre of just this kind of stuff, like kind of in the same way you're getting Octopath and some of those other throwbacks.
Retro revival.
Yeah, it's like you could make so many of these and make them so good, or expand on them and make them better, and it would just, I would play so many of them.
I might be in the minority for like the gaming community, but if I had the choice of either choosing like the 2.5D graphics perspective of like the Octopath Traveler games, or just the straight top-down view isometric of Sea of Stars, I would much rather pick the Sea of Stars perspective, just because I feel like they can add a lot more detail to it because they're not focused on like their perception, that perspective of the 2.5D viewpoint.
Octopath did a cool thing. It's just like now you've got too many games copying it, and with the second one coming out, like, but I like with this game, like you said, right, the backgrounds, like the stuff that you can do now with the technology and the bit graphics, it's like, well, you don't necessarily need it. You can just make these like insanely cool, like 8-bit, 16-bit kind of like worlds.
Yeah, I agree.
There's
not much to
dislike
though.
Oh, there's so much potential.
So much.
Do we
potential.
get a sequel or just DLC?
Right now, all we know is about like the DLC. They haven't said what their next game is going to be yet. So,
I mean, this one is set 1,000 years before their previous game.
Yeah.
So maybe
still some years to play with in between.
Yeah.
I could see them doing the same thing. It'll be set in the same universe as these two games, but a completely different time period, or you're in like an alternate universe that's parallel to this one or something. Like, I don't think it'll be a direct
triggery.
I don't think it'll be a straight continuation of these characters' story. I don't think they'll go that direction.
No.
I think if they kept a lot of the same mechanics, like similar mechanics, and just improved it and did a separate story, though, I don't see why people wouldn't play that if they enjoyed this.
If it still has the same music, sign me up.
They did so good with just the mechanics of this one, and the messenger is so different. I hope that like they're not going to just, let's do a whole new system. I kind of hope they stay with this system because I loved it so much. And,
it seems
they,
like
they might be ambitious. I don't know. They might be trying to like hit different kinds of games. Good point.
Yeah. But I mean, with the reviews and the feedback that they've gotten from this one, you would hope that they stick with it after, like, hey, this works for us. We should keep going with this.
I'm so happy this game is doing well. Like I follow them on social media, and their projections were to sell 250,000 copies in their first fiscal year of the game releasing, and they did that, I think, in the first week.
Yep.
Oh,
damn.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
And that was just to keep them financially stable for the year. They can keep everyone on. Studio stays open. Like, all we have to sell in 1 year is that.
Yeah. So, like, I'm so happy that people are jumping on the game. And if there's DLC, even if it's like $20-25, that's a buy for me.
I got the game for free technically, so I will. It's like one of those things. Like, I would pay money to support this franchise, right?
I bought the physical copy. I pre-ordered it the moment it was released.
Smart.
Sweet.
Hell yeah, you did.
I was like, they deserve it. I played it on Xbox, so it was free, and I'm like, I got plenty of enjoyment out of this. They deserve it.
You're a real one.
Yeah, totally. And I think we need to do more of that. Is like support the studios that actually need the support, and even like these games that are releasing on Game Pass. If you get it, if you like it, like throw some money their way in form of a purchase or something. Because
that's like Lies of P for me. Like, that game hit Game Pass, and I played that entire thing for free, included in my service. Like, if that game goes on sale on PlayStation, even if it's like 20% off, I'm probably gonna buy it again and play it there.
Bump those trophies up with it, doing it all over again, right?
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah.
So I have no issue supporting, double A or indie devs if they make a good game.
You heard it here, folks. Folks, make good games.
Support good games. Yeah.
You know what? I think that just about taps us out here, guys.
Yeah.
I really hope that if someone is curious about this and wants to try it, I really hope that the feedback we give actually means something. And I would actually I feel like we talked about this at the start of the episode. I wanted to give it back to Retro because I feel like he has some important things to talk about that I completely forgot about before, and now I'm just remembering.
What are show notes?
I will talk about that. I do want to touch on the entry level for this game is really great. Daryl talked about it a little bit, and you too, Kyle. It's a great game, especially if you haven't done a JRPG before. There's not a lot of grinding, which is these kind of games are known for. As long as you're just beating the enemies as you go through the world, you're going to level up just fine.
Yep.
And also, right from the beginning, once you're past the tutorial, you're given little talismans that you can equip and unequip at any point, and it makes the game easier or harder, or sometimes certain ones will give you 20% more HP, or 20% more experience points, or it reduces the attack of enemies by 25%, and you can pick and choose as you're playing the game. If you get to a boss that you just can't beat, you throw a couple of those talismans on and you can get past it. So you don't have to, if you're not the kind of person that likes to fight through a boss and die 10 times, you don't have to. They made it very, very approachable for, expert gamers or newbies. So everyone's pointing at different ones, but it's at different screens.
He knows who he
knows.
There it is.
Yeah, we're down here for me.
Do it again.
Down here for me.
Kyle, can I get a hand? If I do this, can you?
This way?
I'm pointing at you.
This way.
Just point at yourself. There you go. Yeah.
Oh god.
Only people watching this on YouTube will know what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But
sorry to our listeners.
This is an all physical comedy podcast at this point. It's going to make no sense.
This is our Brady Bunch moment.
This is our physical comedy audio medium.
The other fun thing that I get to talk about is, whenever I come on, and even sometimes when I don't come on, when you guys have special guests, we like to do giveaways. So we are absolutely going to do that again. As of recording this, it is not finished, but I am making it. If you don't know who I am, I make paper dioramas of pop culture and video games, and they're fun collectibles to fit on your desk.
They're so cool.
They're the best. We all have them.
They're fucking sweet.
And they rock.
Yeah.
Yes,
There we go.
Love it.
Can't tell it's separation anxiety.
I don't know how much Jordan and Daryl tell you, Trevor and Kyle, but I have a pile of stuff for you that I've been making. There's a Stray for one of you guys, and then you each have a Diablo 2 cube. And
I did hear mention of Diablo 2.
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, we got so many. We got to do a giveaway with the Diablo 2 cube too.
Yes, we do.
If you insist.
I know, right? So, we are. So, if you played the game at all, the first bigger boss. There's a small boss, but the bigger boss is Elder Mist. He
yes.
He kind of he's a good guy, but you fight him. You got them, Kyle. Good
Kyle. Well done.
You did so good.
The golf clap.
Thanks, guys.
So we wanted to go, a little bit bigger. So we actually, the normal diorama size is about 3 inches by 3 inches by 3 inches. It's 3.25. So with this one, we're going 7 by 5 by 5. So it's quite a bit bigger.
Awesome.
You can fit multiple of the small cubes into this one. And it will be that fight. as of right now. It's not done, but it will be when this episode comes out, and we will release the giveaway then, and it should be really cool. So be looking for that. If you're listening to this right now on the day it comes out, get over to the page, enter the giveaway. It'll be really fun. And I plan on making a lot of.
I was going to ask, what's
going to be a lot.
What's the count at right now of like, okay, like the top, like how many do I have to do?
Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
407.
I think I have plans to do 7 cube dioramas of it.
Wow.
Because even if I don't sell a single one,
they're for you.
They are for me. I am making these for me. It's just like the big Paper Mario one I made for myself.
Yes, that thing
I got to make these for myself and the giveaway. Some lucky winner. There's 7 cubes. One of those will be the larger 7-inch by 5x5. 1 or 2 shadow boxes, so they'll actually be frames on the wall, 11 by 14 frame with an 8x10 diorama within it. And then the first dweller you fight is like this really creepy haunted witch monster thing. It's great.
Yeah. It's so cool. You
have tons of characters there. The headmaster's there. The 2 other solstice warriors, Zale and Valerie, and then Garl is in the corner. And then you have this crazy monster. We're going to do a massive...
Put baby in the corner.
Like, I think we're going like 14-inch by 10 by 10. So it's like...
Oh my God!
It's huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's not a cube, that's a box.
LEDs. It is a box. It is
What's
massive.
in the box?
But when I make that one, we'll have to talk about doing another giveaway with that too. That's going to take some time.
God.
Because I plan on putting a sound chip and LEDs.
Oh my God.
And we're going to make that one really.
And we're going to figure out how to like flatbed truck freight that to somebody.
Yeah.
Well, I think at some point, Jordan is going to come visit me here in Maine.
Yes, sir.
You'll have to come for the garage sales, apparently.
You have
We're
no
all
idea.
coming.
Yeah.
Not just
Come
Jordan.
on.
We're all coming.
Is this part of our Eastern road trip? We're stopping in Chicago to see Joey.
Yeah.
Chicago.
All the way over to Maine.
Let's do it. But yeah, I'm going to send you guys back with some really big boxes. You're going to fill up some of those shelves.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it. And Retro, if people want to check your stuff out, because let's be honest, listeners, you need to fucking buy some of his stuff because it's incredible.
If you don't see what we share constantly, where can they find you?
Yes.
Which I really appreciate. I love the support from you guys.
Always.
You can find me on Instagram. It's all lowercase retro_edge_art. And there is a little blue check mark. That's how you know it's me. There's been imposters. Don't click on them.
He's legit.
Don't gotta get the check mark. The real one. But yeah, come find it. Even if you're not buying, just come to view some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And giveaways. We do like 15 a year. So there's always a chance to win something.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
If you like old games, Retro's got something for you.
Oh,
Weird.
yes.
It's in his name.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guarantee. Guarantee.
All right. Well, once again, Retro, Kyle.
Yes. I go by me.
Thanks again for coming on.
True.
It's always a great time.
The one true Kyle.
We love having you. You're a part of the team.
Love it. Thanks for having me. I always have a ball. You guys are great. We always do, good enough. And
that's all we ever
that's
asked
all
for.
we set out to do. Yeah, exactly.
It's Garl enough.
Let's go.
All
right. I did not come with enough puns. I feel like I failed you. I will come with more puns next time.
It's okay. Kyle and Daryl have them in excess.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. I know I never have to come to the conversation with a pun because there's no room for it.
No. All right. Well, guys, I think that's good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content. We also invite you to write an email or join us on Discord to talk about anything from our episodes or something else you would like to discuss in the future. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.